welcome to SheaRants for Horror and Supreme. Today I'm talking about The Shining, directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick, and based on Stephen King's novel The Shining, and it's just the same name. This is often held as one of the greatest horror films of all time, and I do definitely agree with that. It is amazing. And it's one of the best psychological horror movies. It's a masterpiece, and it delves into the depths of madness and isolation. It delivers an unforgettable cinematic experience that continues to haunt audiences decades after its release. So, let's get into the review. So the movie begins with an aerial shot of a car driving through the winding roads of Montana. And once it parks, we meet Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson. He's an aspiring writer and former teacher who arrives at the Overlook Hotel for a job interview with the hotel manager, Stuart Ullman. He learns that he will be the winter caretaker, responsible for maintaining the hotel during its off-season when it's closed due to heavy rain and snow and just terrible weather. Ullman warns Jack about the hotel's dark history, including a previous caretaker named Grady, who succumbed to cabin fever and murdered his entire family before taking his own life. Jack is just eager for a fresh start and a quiet place to write with his family, so he's undeterred by the story, and he instantly moves his whole family in there. So he moves into the hotel with his wife Wendy, played by Shelley Duvall, in an amazing performance, and their young son Danny, played by Danny Lloyd. Danny possesses psychic abilities, which he calls the Shine, which allow him to see the hotel's horrific past and communicate telepathically with others who shine. And before they leave for the hotel, Danny gets a few troubling visions, and he's warned by his imaginary friend Tony about the dangers that lie ahead. Tony is basically the embodiment of the Shine within Danny. We never meet him, but he just, occasionally changes his voice and talks with Tony. So, as the family settle into the Overlook, Danny meets Dick Halloran, don't make fun of his name, played by Scatman Crothers, in another amazing performance. He's the hotel's chef, who also has the Shine, and Halloran shares a psychic connection with Danny and warns him to avoid room 237, which has a particularly malevolent presence. And despite the warning, Danny, being the stupid child that he is, decides to go into the room anyway. And Jack's mental state slowly begins to decline due to the hotel's sinister influence and his own personal demons. He becomes increasingly just irritable, and he struggles with his writer's block, and then he starts to experience bizarre and terrifying visions. He encounters the ghostly bartender Lloyd, who serves him drinks and listens to his frustrations. And the spirit of a seductive woman in room 237 who transforms into a decaying corpse. Wendy, who is growing increasingly concerned about Jack's behaviour and the bruises that appear on Danny's neck after he visits room 237, she confronts Jack. He denies any involvement of abusing their son though, and Jack's isolation and descent into madness are further fueled by the apparitions of the hotel's past inhabitants, including Grady, who tells Jack that he has to correct his family. Now, this bit's just really disturbing to me because it's literally just a ghost, but it's not really, in my opinion, it's really just Jack's inner demons, all the alcohol and all of his issues just telling him, you gotta fix this person, man. Get her in line. Which is just horrible, but yeah, Jack is just utterly insane. So the tension escalates as Jack becomes more violent, and he sabotages the hotel's radio and snowcat and literally any means of communication and escape. And Jack, then fully possessed by the hotel's malevolent spirits, attack Wendy with an axe, and she manages to lock him in the pantry. But the spirits of the hotel free him, and then Danny, realising the danger, reaches out psychically to Halloran. And he really senses the distress and rushes back to the hotel, but upon arrival, Jack ambushes and kills Halloran, which doesn't happen in the book. So this was something which kind of confused me when I first watched this movie, because I read the book first. But either way, it just adds another kill to the movie, I guess. And yeah, Jack then pursues Danny into the hallways of the hotel's hedge maze, where Danny cleverly retraces his steps and he leaves false tracks in the snow to mislead his father. Wendy and Danny then escape into Halloran's snowcat and they leave Jack to freeze to death in the maze. The film concludes with a slow zoom into a photograph from the Overlook's 4th of July party in 1921, revealing Jack among the revelers, implying that he's always been a part of the hotel's history, and it kind of really just says that, like, people like him are always here. It's always the same kind of guy, just the terrible people who just, I guess, are brought here. And yeah, The Shining, it really perfectly combines horror with supernatural elements and creates an atmosphere of just relentless tension and dread. Its iconic performances, particularly Nicholson's portrayal of Jack, and Kubrick's meticulous direction makes it a really standout horror film and just a really standout movie. Like, just fun fact, Stephen King hates this movie. Well, he did at least, until recently where he said he thinks it's alright now, but he hated this movie for a very long time because he hated not Jack Nicholson, he hated Stanley Kubrick's direction of the movie. And I mean, looking at like behind the scenes stuff, it didn't seem like he was the nicest to the cast on set, mainly Shelley Duvall. But either way, this movie really is a tour de force of just atmospheric and just dread. And Stanley Kubrick really did a great job in direction and just attention to detail to create a sense of unease and dread. And the film's isolated setting, which is really just from its labyrinthine hallways and eerie emptiness, becomes a character in itself. It really just amplifies the sense of claustrophobia and impending doom. Jack Nicholson, though, I must say, another fun fact here, he was actually thought to be crazy after this movie, and, I mean, it makes sense. His performance as Jack Nicholson, oh, Jesus Christ, Jack Torrance, they're both named Jack, okay? I keep messing it up. His performance as Jack Torrance is iconic, and it captures the character's gradual decline in, like, mental stability and just how he slowly goes from a normal dude, well, a pseudo-normal dude, you know, he's trying to better himself, to just a complete and utter monster. And Shelley Duvall's portrayal of Wendy is equally compelling. She embodies the terror and desperation of a wife and mother trapped in a situation where the danger is just increasing tenfold every few minutes. Every time that she sees her husband, something happens. Every time she sees her son, something happens. You can really just see the pain in her face every time that, like, Jack is just coming back. And Danny Lloyd's portrayal of young Danny Torrance adds another layer of depth to the film. His ability to convey fear and vulnerability while also embodying a sense of otherworldly knowledge is really cool. And the dynamic between the Torrance family members is a key driver of the film's tension and emotional weight. However, I must also say that Dick Halloran's actor definitely was a really good addition. He definitely just embodies that character perfectly, and it was really sad seeing how he passed away and how they recast him for the sequel. However, that actor did do a good job. I'll get to that eventually there. And Kubrick's use of music and sound design is also really cool for the movie. Like, the score of this movie is iconic. And it's really just combined with perfect sound effects, and it creates just a great experience that heightens the sense of dread and foreboding throughout the entire film. And it's got a lot of really cool shots, especially in the Overlook, where it just immerses you into it. Like, I think my first experience of The Shining was actually when I watched Ready Player One, which is a pretty bad film. But either way, that made me scared anyway, because I was like 10 watching it on an aeroplane. Kind of a dumb idea. Either way, though, The Shining is a timeless masterpiece that continues to resonate with audiences due to its masterful blend of psychological horror and supernatural elements. The direction is perfect. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall's performance is perfect. Everything about the movie just makes me just love it even more. And I do now own it on DVD, it's just down there. I forgot to take it out for the video, but either way, I'm very glad that I now own this. I'm very glad that I've reviewed this for this little Stephen King marathon that I'm doing. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next bit.